I'm Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times. Thursday, October 8th, news from Arkansas. You thought the Little Rock school desegregation case was ended a few years ago. Not at all. Today, the news is all about Little Rock schools. John Walker, the civil rights lawyer, late yesterday did file this lawsuit he promised alleging racial discrimination in the takeover of the Little Rock School District. He talks about disparity in teacher assignments, enrollment zones, and any other number of factors. I think it's going to be enough to get into court. It's certainly going to upset those who thought the issue had gone away. Interesting too, and you can find on our blog some very specific details about it, as Walker lays out through Freedom of Information Act information he obtained, how fiercely and how organized the business community came together in a campaign that included a lot of Walton Family Foundation money and one of their paid lobbyists to effect the takeover of the city schools. Whether that's good or bad probably depends on your point of view. They're working in the interest of a very nice school in northwest Little Rock that's predominantly white and it's in very good shape. John Walker's interested in some distressed schools and minority parts of town in which he submitted some photographs that show how bad conditions were. Meanwhile, before the state Supreme Court today, they heard oral arguments on the state's request to dismiss a separate lawsuit challenging the takeover of the Little Rock School District. The people challenging it there say that the state law is unconstitutional. The state says that they're immune from lawsuit, that they can do whatever they want to do when it comes to schools that they find to be in academic distress. There were some justices who questioned whether there was authority for the legislature to prevent any court recourse to people whose schools are taken over. It's going to be interesting to follow. John Seelig, who's head of the State Department of Human Services for years, says he's going to end by the end of the year. The department has been under fire for its implementation of the private option Medicaid expansion program. There have been questions about handling of child support services. It's a tough job at a tough agency with immense headaches. Most people think he's done a great job. The governor will find somebody to succeed him. They're going to have a hard time finding somebody as smart and competent as John Seelig, but it may be time for a change. The state Supreme Court today reversed the conviction of a Mena woman who was sentenced to 20 years in prison after a baby she delivered at a hospital there was found to have methamphetamines in its bloodstream, as the mother did. The court said the state law does not provide for a crime against a mother short of homicide in the cases of something in the womb, a fetus in the womb. They say there was no proof that the mother caused drugs to be in the child's body after birth, and that was the central point. I suspect there are going to be further legislative efforts to deal with this issue the court has now created. The Pope, through his emissary in Washington, D.C., sent a message to Governor Hutchinson asking him to commute the execution scheduled of the death sentences for 8 men scheduled to die in Arkansas in the next couple of months. This happens to be the emissary in Washington who arranged the meeting with Kim Davis and caused such a stir that the Pope seemed to be backing this person who flouted the law. I think he'd get more sympathy from Governor Hutchinson on Kim Davis than he will on ending executions in Arkansas. Funny story, Mike Huckabee's campaign continues to be a clown car. Yesterday they showed that one of his books that purported to be full of quotes from historical figures like Thomas Jefferson and Patrick Henry was just full of baloney, made up quotes, misquotes, in fact. And then today he was quoted in Iowa as agreeing wholeheartedly with somebody who said that the International Baccalaureate Advanced Placement curriculum in high schools was some kind of terrible plot to teach world history instead of American history. Huckabee said he wouldn't stand for it. Well, guess what? He signed legislation in Arkansas that approved IB curriculum in the state, and you can get your tests paid for here if you choose to follow that curriculum. Finally, an interesting story from the New York Times we've talked about here, and that is that major colleges are expanding beer sales and the general admission seats at football stadiums to make more money and to get more people to go. Ticket sales are falling. I think a little beer might bring some people back. In Arkansas, only the good seats get beer in the club sections and in the skyboxes. Do you think maybe they'll take it to the people in the cheap or at least not quite so expensive seats? We'll see. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back tomorrow.
You feel it in your heart. The spirit of Little Rock. We've had that spirit since 1927, helping build our city by producing decades of leaders in the heart of our state. We are the heart of business and innovation, the heart of politics and government, the heart of arts and culture, and in our city beats the heart of a Trojan. UALR, we are Little Rock's team and Little Rock's University.
Yeah, I used to be friends with Bill Clinton. Who cares?